Welcome everyone to our webinar for transfer applicants. We are so excited that you have joined us today to learn a little bit more about transferring into our Griffin community. I would like to acknowledge that the University of Guelph campuses resides within the lands of the Dishwith Wanspoon Wampum. We recognize that the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lunipiwak, and Huron-Wendat peoples have inhabited these lands for centuries, and we respect their enduring relationships with these lands. We are committed to working towards decolonization and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples and enhancing the engagement of and supports for First Nation, Inuit, and Métis students. My name is Taylor, and I graduated in 2020 with a Bachelor of Arts in Sciences, with minors in Neuroscience and Family and Child Studies. During my time at Guelph, I lived and worked in housing for a student club called Interhall Council, where I represented resident students. I represent hospitality as the ombudsperson and was the student link between our amazing campus food, and I worked in our on-campus bookstore. As you can tell, I absolutely love being involved throughout my undergrad and my time here at U of G, and it's truly what made it a memorable experience. One of my favorite locations on campus was our fourth floor in the library, which was group study, where my friends and I enjoyed studying with our Starbucks and beautiful views of our campus below. A fun fact about me is that my brother is also a Griffin, and he is currently in his last year studying in a Bachelor of Arts, studying music and business. Now, today's webinar is specifically for transfer students who have applied for admission to an entry point in 2024. Our plan is to highlight the next steps and things that you need to keep in mind after you've submitted the application. While it might seem like a lot of information all at once, please be aware that everything I will be discussing can also be found on our website. After you apply, you'll receive an email from us acknowledging that your application has been received. Another email will be sent soon after that, and it contains what we call your central login information. This is the username and password combination that you'll use to access your University of Guelph email account and your WebAdvisor account. We can't stress enough that you should write down your central login username and password and save it in a place that can be easily referenced, maybe like the Notes app in your phone. It's important to check both your email and WebAdvisor regularly to avoid delays in processing your application. Please note that after these initial emails, we will not use your personal email address for further communication. WebAdvisor is an online tool that enables you to monitor the status of your application and view required documents. It is how you'll be notified of required documents, as well as if they have been received or are still outstanding. Our staff updates WebAdvisor manually, so please know that once your documents have been received, we'll need some time to process them and update the documents section of your WebAdvisor account. We're grateful for your patience and encourage you to check back regularly. To check your application status, go to WebAdvisor homepage and log in using your central login username and password. You'll find admission status in the right-hand side menu under admission information. Okay, now because sometimes it's easier to be shown rather than told information, here's a short video that explains how to use WebAdvisor. Amazing. So now we'll explain the application sizes you might see on WebAdvisor. So if you see admission, like application received, I think you went ahead, there you go. That means that that means that we have your application, but we haven't received documents or transcripts that are necessary to consider it. Essentially, your application isn't complete yet. If you see this status, you should check the documents section to see what you need to submit. If you see forwarded for decision, that means we've received your documents and your application is complete. Your application has been sent forward to be reviewed for an admission decision. Normally, an admission decision comes after you see forwarded for decision, unless we need final grades or additional documents from you. That's what the other two statuses on this slide are. Decision pending final grades means that you won't get a decision until we get your final transcript from the current semester, and further information required means that the admission committee needs more information before they can reach a decision. If you see this application status, you should check the document section to see what additional information is required. This slide shows admission decision statuses. If you see one of these statuses, it means that a letter is on its way to you that explains the decisions and next steps information. Note that we don't have digital offer or refusal letters available on WebAdvisor. Please wait to receive your letter by other means before contacting us to inquire about conditions of your offer or reasons for your application being refused. Admitted conditionally means that you've been admitted, but there are conditions that you need to meet. We will include the final deadline to meet your conditions in your offer letter. Admitted is self-explanatory. You've been admitted. In this case, there aren't any conditions or any follow-up that you need to do with admission services. Refused external and refused requirements mean that you aren't admissible to the program because you haven't met the minimum requirements. Refused no space means that you have met the minimum requirements, but we can't grant admission because the program you've applied to doesn't have any available space. Before we can consider your application complete, you need to submit documents and transcripts for any and all institutions you've attended, including high school. Exceptions to this are if you're applying for non-degree studies or the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program. We are accepting unofficial documents to be considered for a conditional offer of admission. This means you can send us transcripts in your possession that you have opened, and if they include the necessary information, you could get an offer. If you do not get an offer based on unofficial transcripts, you'll need to arrange the submission of official copies by a certain date outlined in your offer letter. If you're unable to obtain official copies of your transcripts from an international school that you've attended in the past, please contact WES or ICAS to get a credential evaluation report. These are okay in place of official transcripts. In terms of how to submit documents, a reminder that we do not have a document upload option on WebAdvisor. You can upload unofficial documents on OUAC when you apply or submit them to applicant@uaguelph.ca or intdocs@uaguelph.ca if you're an international student. Our team will ensure that they've included it in your application folder for review. Just a reminder that if you've applied to the Diploma in Turf Grass Management, you must submit your background information form to be considered. The deadline for this is February 16th, so if you have applied to this, please get this in ASAP. These forms are reviewed by the admission committees. They want to know why you're interested in the program and why you're passionate about a career in these fields. Background information forms are available on our admissions website. Transfer applicants are welcome to submit a personal support letter to accompany their application. Note that this support letter is optional unless it's specifically requested in the document section of your WebAdvisor account. There are no specific guidelines for content or formatting other than you need to submit the letter to applicant@uaguelph.ca as a Word or PDF document attachment after you have applied. Most students keep the letter to 1 to 2 pages and use it to explain or elaborate on extenuating circumstances that affected their grades in the past, the reasons for applying to the University of Guelph, and their future academic or career goals. On screen now are the document submission deadlines for the entry point in 2024. Please note that documents and transcripts for your application must be received in admission services by this date. You should submit documents well before these deadlines to ensure that we get them on time. Now let's chat about transfer credits. Transfer credit is reviewed and assigned at the point of admission, after all your transcripts and documents have been received and forwarded to the admission committee for review. To evaluate and assess your transcript for transfer credits, the admission counselor will look at your transcript and compare it to the university's existing credit equivalency table. If a course has not been evaluated and added to the equivalency table, the admission counselor looks at course outlines and sometimes consults faculty to determine transfer credit. For university transfer applicants or applicants enrolled in degree programs at a college, we usually grant transfer credit for all previously passed courses. You'll still need to complete both the program's residency and degree requirements to graduate. Where a student has completed a course in an academic discipline or area that we do not offer, transfer credit is still considered, and transfer credits are assigned more generically. So, for example, a second-year social work course from another institution would usually be a second-year social sciences transfer credit at Guelph because we don't have social work. If you already hold a degree, you can get a maximum of 10 credits from your previous degree. This is equivalent to 2 years or one half of a 4-year honors degree program. College transfer students who have completed a 2-year diploma can expect to receive up to 5 credits, and graduates of a 3-year college diplomas can expect to receive up to 10 credits. These are equivalent to 1 and 2 years of full-time study, respectively. Note, if you're applying for admission via a pre-existing pathway agreement from your college to one of our degree programs, the transfer credit you'll get is predetermined. You can email me at transfer@uofguelph.ca for more information on that specific pathway, or you can check out our website. The question that we get most is, when will I get a decision? Your application is not reviewed until it is completed, and your application status changes to forwarded for decision on WebAdvisor. From that point on, we will try to review your application file and post an admission decision as soon as we can. Sometimes we experience a bottleneck effect when there's a high volume of applications, documents, and transcripts coming into our office. When this happens, an application may take longer than usual to process and consider, and we appreciate your patience during these times. I think it's important to point out that transfer students are not eligible for direct entry to co-op or into the criminal justice and public policy, biomedical science, or animal biology majors. If you apply for admission to co-op, we'll consider you for the regular option. If you apply to any of the majors that I just listed, your application will be considered for a different but similar major in the program that you applied to. Now that we've covered admission information, I want to share a brief overview of student life at Guelph. University is so much more than just your academic program. Your experiences outside the classroom are just as important. Once you arrive, our coordinator of student transfer programs, Jen McCluskey, is ready to greet you and guide you through your transition to becoming a Guelph Griffin. She's here today to share some information with you. So let's all take a moment to welcome Jen.
Hi, folks. Thank you for the introduction, Taylor. It is so wonderful to be here. As Taylor mentioned, I'm the coordinator of transfer student programs here at the University of Guelph. And this means that once you have been accepted, I will support prospective and current students transferring from another college, university, or Indigenous institute. And I will help folks navigate a brand new post-secondary system. We recognize that sometimes starting somewhere new can be really daunting, especially if you don't know anyone. And we're here to kind of provide those supports outside of the classroom to help you navigate campus or find different resources to help support you and help you live your best life while you're at Guelph. I support students through doing things such as one-on-one advising appointments, and I'll run events and programming opportunities for transfer students to come together, as well as find community on campus. And then our broader unit as a whole within student experience will run things like orientation week and new student programming, and all new student programming is also available for new transfer students as well. Hopefully folks are very keen on learning all about what Guelph has to offer. I may not stay all the way till the end of the webinar today, but I do encourage folks to send me an email with my contact info listed on the screen if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for Jen. So as she said, if you have any other questions, that email on screen is a great place to start. Now, while I mentioned that the University of Guelph is commutable for many, if you do want to live on campus, we have some great options for you. So transfer students are welcome to apply for on-campus housing. There are 13 residences to choose from on the north, east, and south sides of campus. All of our residence buildings are a 5 to 7 minute walk to the center of our campus. I had a single room in my first year in South Residence where my mom and I prepped all summer long, picking out the best laundry bag, the cutest rug, and the coziest twinkly lights. And all these homey touches really made my room feel like a home away from home. I lived in an academic cluster for my program where everyone who was in my tower was in the same program. And I absolutely loved this as we were able to go to classes, study together, and I had an upper year student in the program there to support us. Many transfer students like the townhouse and apartment style residences because they have kitchens and allow for a more independent living. I lived in a townhouse in my last 2 years at Guelph, and my room overlooked the University of Guelph Arboretum, which is 400 acres of nature, trails, and meadows. If I ever needed a study break, luscious greens and chirping birds were right outside my door waiting to greet me. Living in a house with my friends, having a kitchen, living room, and dining room with only a 7 minute walk to class down a beautiful brick pathway was an absolute dream. Living in a residence that had a dining hall in it in my first year, my friends and I had a tradition of getting a late night snack, whether it was a strawberry banana smoothie, a gourmet crepe with whipped cream from Windows Cafe, or a slice of hot pepperoni pizza at Mountain Dining Hall, calling it our second dinner. The food was just that good. You can use your meal plan both on and off campus at over 40 locations combined, and you can pick from 5 different meal plans offered to best suit your dining hall needs, and it works just like a debit card. As the hospitality representative for my last 2 years, I was interviewed by Maclean's magazine, who ranks us #1 for best campus food in Canada for over 10 years in a row, where I was able to boast about how accommodating hospitality is with their halal, vegan, kosher, and gluten-free options. Being their student link, I ensured that student voices were always heard through working with managers and making student suggestions come to life. But what really blew me away was the commitment to sustainability and local food. Every Wednesday, our chefs go to a local produce auction where they bid from farmers for the freshest fruit and most vibrant veggies to make international flavors with local ingredients. The infamous butter chicken is a family recipe from one of our esteemed international chefs. And on Wednesdays, I would get this butter chicken and a slice of cake in reusable containers to go where I could drop them off at any hospitality location after class. In our bright and modern athletic center, my friend and I attended Zumba with Steph or Step and Core with Jeff. I accessed the gym with my Energy membership. Athletics doesn't just end with our fitness center, though. We have a stunning 40-foot rock climbing wall, 2 ice rinks in our on campus arenas, 2 huge swimming pools, and indoor and outdoor fields. We also offer a variety of varsity sports, so if you're thinking about playing on a team, I would encourage you to go visit griffins.ca to get in contact with the coach. We also offer an intramural program that 9,000 students participate in every year. There are multiple levels of difficulty to fit your experience levels. I never considered myself athletic in high school and did not participate in intramurals until my last year, but I wish I had joined sooner. I played on the Just for Fun multi-sport team where we played a different sport every week. We played traditional sports like badminton and hockey and more unique ones like spikeball and dodgeball. And playing a new sport every week was tons of fun. And even though I didn't get very good at flag football or basketball, no surprise really, I love that with every new sport, we got closer, became stronger, and grew as a team. With over 200 clubs and organizations on campus, it's very easy to get involved, feel supported, and find friends with similar interests. I even tried out for Quidditch, broomstick, and all. Find your people at Griffin's Read or join a student government, the Future Vets Club, or represent your residence hall like I did. There's genuinely a club for everyone. I remember getting my offer of admission to Guelph in the mail like it was yesterday. Throughout my undergrad, I truly found myself through making lifelong friends in residence where we would go to dinner every night, going to brass taps for trivia, working on campus, and representing hospitality services, which wasn't that hard to do with our amazing food. But a very special year for me was when my brother became a Griffin. I was very excited to move him into the same residence I lived in my first year and made sure it was his home away from home. I made him a welcome package from our bookstore with all my personal favorites, including matching university sweaters, which we of course wore on our first day of classes, pictured here. I got to show him around campus so that he would know where all his classes were and watched him make his lifelong friends. And every Sunday night, we would have dinner together in a different dining hall on our campus, trying out all the new dishes together. My mom now self-proclaims as the mother of Griffins, and she's not wrong because my brother and I couldn't be prouder to be Griffins together. So to end this webinar, I just want to say that you can book a 15-minute meeting with myself on Transfer Tuesdays and register for any of our online webinars using that QR code on screen now. You can also chat with a current student using our text-based messaging app platform called Unibuddy. And then also, in my opinion, experiencing the Guelph campus is an absolute must. And I want to personally invite you to visit us during one of our campus tours, which can also be booked online. But if you have any questions after today's prospective webinar, please feel free to contact me. My email's on screen now, so it's transferinfo@uofguelph.ca. And thank you so much for attending your Next Steps applicant webinar.